Let's go Ravens! Something just happened behind the scenes with the Baltimore Ravens that goes way beyond New Jersey's, and I'm telling you right now, if you think this is just about a uniform change, you might be missing the bigger picture. Because what the Ravens just did could be signaling a shift that impacts the entire direction of this team moving forward. There are details in this whole situation that fans are starting to pick up on, choices that don't feel random, and decisions that could be hinting at something much bigger than what we're seeing on the surface. And the craziest part? Not everyone is talking about it yet. But before we dive into everything I've been hearing and breaking down, make sure you hit that like button right now if you truly believe this team is heading towards something special this season. And I want you to go down in the comments and write this: I believe in this team. Let's see how many Ravens fans are still optimistic in riding with this squad no matter what. Because what I'm about to break down might completely change how you see this offseason. Now, let's get into what really matters, the details. Because at first glance, some fans might say, okay, these look solid. But the deeper you go, the more you realize how much thought went into every single piece. The introduction of the midnight purple tone adds a fresh identity without abandoning tradition. The iridescent outlines on the numbers give the uniforms a shine that will stand out especially under primetime lights. And then there are the sleeve upgrades and the addition of Baltimore on the jersey, subtle but powerful touches that reinforce identity and pride. But if we're being completely honest here, the real stars of this entire reveal were the helmets. That's what truly elevated everything. The purple and gold combination already turned heads, but the black helmet, with that Ravens logo and the red eyes, that's the one that's going to stick with fans. That's the one that feels intimidating. That's the one that feels like Ravens football. And here's something important, this wasn't about overdoing it. Going into this, there was real concern among fans that the team might try too much, change too much, and lose what makes the Ravens visually iconic. But they didn't. They respected the foundation while modernizing the look. That balance is extremely difficult to achieve, and they nailed it. Another key point that shouldn't be overlooked is versatility. These uniforms open the door for a wide range of combinations: purple jerseys with white pants, white jerseys with black pants, black with purple. The possibilities are endless. And that matters because it keeps things fresh week after week. It gives the team different identities depending on the matchup, the stage, and especially the time of day. And speaking of time of day, imagine these uniforms under the lights. Night games at M&T Bank Stadium are already intense, but with these new designs, that's going to hit differently. The lighting, the reflections, the darker tones, everything about this setup was clearly designed with primetime in mind. Now, beyond the aesthetics, there's a deeper layer to all of this. This reveal comes at a time when the Ravens are trying to reset their identity. After seasons of frustration and falling short, this offseason has already brought major changes. And these jerseys? They're part of that psychological reset. They represent a clean slate, a new mindset, and a team that's trying to redefine itself heading into the next season. There was even some speculation among fans about which players were featured or not featured in the rollout. Some started questioning whether certain absences could hint at future moves. But internally, there's no indication that this reveal was meant to signal roster changes. These types of events often rotate players and focus on visuals rather than deeper meaning. Still, it shows how closely fans are paying attention to every detail right now. At the end of the day, this was more than just a jersey reveal. It was an experience. It was a statement. And most importantly, it was a glimpse into how the Ravens want to be seen moving forward, bold, modern, and ready to take the next step. And that's exactly where things get even more interesting, because when you connect everything we've been seeing this offseason with this jersey reveal, it starts to feel less like coincidence and more like a coordinated shift inside the Baltimore Ravens organization. Think about it, this wasn't just about giving fans something cool to look at during the slower part of the offseason. This was strategic. The team knows that after the draft, things usually quiet down. Energy drops. Conversations slow. But instead of letting that happen, they created a moment. Something that keeps fans engaged, excited, and emotionally invested heading into the next phase. And the reactions? They've been loud. A lot of fans are already talking about buying jerseys, especially that white version with the purple lettering and the matching helmet combination. That specific look has been getting a ton of attention, and it's not hard to see why. It blends clean design with that aggressive Ravens identity in a way that just works. But beyond fan reactions, there's also something else brewing underneath all of this: expectations. Because when you refresh the image of a team like this, when you make such a big deal out of a reveal, when you signal a new era, you're also raising the bar. You're telling everyone, we're not the same team anymore. And that comes with pressure. We've already seen conversations shifting toward what this team needs to do next. There's debate about building the defensive line, about whether the front office should prioritize pass rushers, and how they can finally establish that dominant presence they've been missing for years. Since losing a true elite edge presence, the Ravens have been trying different solutions, bringing in players, drafting prospects, but they haven't fully solved it yet. And now, with a defensive-minded direction being emphasized, that conversation is only getting louder. There are strong opinions that investing in defensive talent could be the key to unlocking this team's full potential, especially when you consider how injuries and inconsistency impacted performance in recent seasons. At the same time, there's another side of the discussion, the offense. Because while it's true the Ravens have managed to produce without elite receivers in the past, there's a growing belief that getting by isn't enough anymore. If this team really wants to compete at the highest level, especially in the playoffs, they need to elevate everything. Not just rely on what's worked before, but build something more complete, more dangerous, more unpredictable. And that's where this entire moment becomes symbolic. The jerseys, the event, the reactions, it all feeds into this bigger picture. A team that's been close, but not close enough. A team that's had talent, but hasn't fully capitalized on it. A team that now seems ready to turn the page. Even the smallest details, like which players appeared in promotional content, sparked conversations among fans trying to read between the lines. That's how locked in the fan base is right now. Every move, every decision, every visual, it all matters. But internally, the focus remains on building the best possible roster and keeping strategic decisions under wraps, especially with key moments like the draft approaching. And that brings us back to where this all started, the identity of this team moving forward. Because uniforms don't win games. Helmets don't make tackles. But mindset, culture, confidence, those things matter. And if this reveal is any indication, the Ravens are trying to reshape all of that at once. Because here's the reality, everything we've talked about so far builds hype, builds anticipation, and builds belief. But eventually, it all comes down to execution on the field for the Baltimore Ravens. This is where the pressure really kicks in. The Ravens didn't just quietly update their uniforms. They didn't just drop a design and move on. They created an experience, a moment that made fans feel like something big is coming. And when you do that, you're not just selling jerseys, you're selling a vision. A vision of a team that's ready to stop falling short and finally take that next step. But let's be honest with each other for a second. We've been here before. This is a team that hasn't been terrible, far from it. They've been competitive. They've had talent. They've had moments where it felt like everything was lining up. But at the same time, they've also been frustrating. A team that keeps running into the same wall over and over again, especially when it matters most. And that's why this offseason feels different. There's a sense of urgency now. A sense that the organization understands that being good isn't enough anymore. That just making the playoffs or having a solid regular season doesn't satisfy this fan base. Not anymore. Not with the expectations that exist around this team. You can see it in the way fans are talking. You can see it in the debates about roster construction, whether it's building a stronger defensive front, finding that missing piece in the pass rush, or adding more firepower on offense. There's no more patience for half measures. People want this team to